You mentioned nearly a decade in the role as CFO. There's been a lot of talk about how the role has evolved. How did it change or evolve for you at Dow?
I think it's evolved a lot. If I think about the role of CFO, and I'll go beyond my tenure, I think if you look back into probably the 90s, the best pathway to CFO at the time was Treasury. Those were the kind of the go-go 90s where deal making was the way you got primarily into the C-suite as the chief financial officer. I think post the financial crisis and the way I tried to do the role in my 10 years as CFO was really as co-pilot. The way I have thought about my role, and I have really pushed the Dow team, is the CFO has to be the CEO's co-pilot. And I am not a pilot. I've never flown an aircraft, but I like the analogy because if you think about any commercial flight that you take, there's a pilot and there's a co-pilot, and the jobs are pretty interchangeable. I mean, the co-pilot has to be able to do everything that the pilot does. Fly the plane, land, take off, navigate, talk with air traffic control, talk with the crew, keep the passengers or the customers or the clients engaged.
So that co-pilot analogy is quite interesting. What does that mean specifically in terms of the skills and capabilities you needed to see from your team so that they could actually be successful co-pilots within Dow?
It's that combination of leadership, problem solving, courage, curiosity, and ultimately accountability that really drives, I think, a successful CFO, a successful finance organization, and ultimately helps deliver value for all of the stakeholders in an enterprise.
Given all those variables you just highlighted, which one do you think is typically the toughest for aspiring CFOs to master, and how could they go about addressing that?
A lot of times I see young leaders come in and they believe they have to have all the answers. And the reality is actually, the higher you move up into senior leadership of any organization, actually the less expertise you have. Most of the time, you're not going to be on a specific subject. You're not going to be the smartest person in that room. But a lot of young leaders who come into a role need time to get comfortable with that. And so making sure that you're asking questions, not giving your opinion right at the beginning, but really extracting the value of the people that you have in the room that probably do have more subject matter expertise. I would say for young leaders, that's where I would tend to focus on what they need to do.